In this video, we're going to work through some different ways, different options you have to create a nice flowing slide surface from the centerline and cross-section geometry that you have here, and how to make some customizations to it so that it can work in different ways that might be appropriate for a water slide or any other kind of flowing three-dimensional shaped pathway or surface that you might want to make as part of your architecture. So in the chair video, we found out that the loft was a pretty good way to go, and we could try to come around here and select all of these and make a loft, and I can do that very quickly. So I'm going to take these 6 cross-section curves and attempt to make a loft out of them. And it wants me to select the curves. I'm going to try to select them all near the same spot, which will be helpful when we go ahead and finish this loft command. And notice that they have ended up in a series of different places. I think what I want to do is have them be all on the inside corner, facing in. So I'm going to move some of these points around. So those are all in alignment. And we have a loft connecting them. We can rebuild or not rebuild. I'm going to say not simplify. I'll preview that. So it doesn't change the shape very much. And I don't want to say closed loft. That will connect the ends. I can say OK. Now this works, but notice when you look at this in plan that the loft has now warped the edges of this in ways that are not, exactly what we want. If the idea is to make this a kind of smooth surface, a smooth cross section, it keeps changing cross section in different places. This might be what you want. For me, this is not the best result, although it did create the loft correctly. So I'm going to actually delete that. So now, as a different example, I'm going to do a sweep 1 rail. And I'll select the center line as the rail, and then the cross-section curves will be, in this case, only the beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want to try to get the seam directions all to be the same, the location and direction to all be the same. And I've had to realign the shapes at the end of that using the Align Shapes option. And what I have is a pretty clean sweep that comes down using just 3 of the cross sections in order to create this. And you'll notice that it is actually it is smoother and more true in plan to the shape of the cross sections than the loft was. So this is good. This is a good result. I don't need to simplify it, although I could have. This is good, clean geometry. I can go to my standard view and I can just see the surfaces here, and I can look at the reflection of the light on this and see that this is a very nice sweep. So with that in mind, we can accept this. You could save this onto its own layer. You could create another layer specifically for variations on this slide. Let's make a variation. I might go to my layers, and here under slide 1, I'll make a sublayer, and I'll call it sweep 1. And I'll make another sublayer called sweep 2. And I might make this one nice and hot pink. And I'll go back to this polysurface I created, and I will change its layer to sweep 1. and I'll make sweep 2 my current layer, and I'll take that and I'll hide it. And so I'll make another sweep this time, but before I do, I'm going to change some qualities of the cross sections. So looking at my top cross section, I'll turn on its edit points, and I'll zoom in and I'll take the top group of them just above the bend here, and I'll move those straight up. I think I'll want to have I want to be working in a different construction plane, so I'll just go over here. And I'll move those straight up. I'll hold shift and I'll go straight up with those. Noticing that they do get a little bit skinnier. In fact, there are more or fewer construction points. They have a little bit of a different valence. I'm going to move them again straight up. There we go. And create a cross-section that has higher sides at the beginning of the slide. As might often happen, these might line up more or less with the handrails so someone doesn't fall off. And as they go, then the sides of this will drop away. So I've changed the shape of one of the cross-sections. I think what I might do is then start to rotate some other cross-sections. So I can take the bottom cross-section, and rather than set up a new construction plane or anything, I'll use the gumball, and I will simply take that, and I'll look at what angle I can use to rotate this. And I'll take this cross-section and I'll rotate it, perhaps to lean in with the curve, like banking around the curve. So having modified the top cross-section to make it taller, and the bottom cross-section for it to angle into the curve, I'm going to keep the middle cross-section the way it is, and I'm going to do the sweep 1 command again. And I'm going to use the center rail, and then I'm going to select my cross-section curves, trying to stay near the same point on each of them when I select them. And I'll look at the seam locations and directions, and I'll move those around to get them to be as close to the same as I can. And again, this looks to me as if it twists on itself as it goes. So I'm going to do use the align shapes command, in which case you can just click on one of these and try to get them all, in that case, to be facing in the same direction. And I think my results now are perfect. I'll hit return. I could rebuild with some different number of control points to simplify this slightly. And my result is a decent sweep. Because I hit rebuild, you'll notice that it lost some of the geometry of the top edge of this, and it sort of adjusted itself in order to be close to the same curve. This works fairly well, and it would render fine, although it's really not exactly what we started with. So the question here is, do you rebuild in order to get a smoother, rounder, perhaps more molded looking thing? Or do we go back and do this one more time with a sweep 1 and compare the results if we don't rebuild? So let's do that. And again, I want to get these seam points very close to being the same. And I know that I will have to align them and switch the middle one in my experience. And this time I am not going to rebuild. I'm going to say do not simplify. And then come in and look at the results and compare them to what we saw before. And in this case, we do have this absolutely flat top. It does not change the profile when you do not rebuild or do not simplify. So you get very much the profile cross section everywhere that you've chosen exactly as you want it, so that the top is very consistent all the way around. But in this case, we start with a higher sided, higher wall that comes along, and then it starts to reduce itself. You can see the cross-section curves that we didn't use, giving an indication of how the surface we've created is diverging from some of those cross sections, but it passes through the ones that we selected very precisely. So here it diverges in the lower portion because it's now twisting the shape to end up at the newly curved bottom to dump someone in the pool on the side of their head. And I like that. I think this looks really good. So we're going to keep this, and I encourage you all to make a series of different kind of slides, for at least one for each of your stair towers. Spiral slides are encouraged, but you can also play around with straight slides. Just pay attention to the fact that, like with stairs, you don't want to have head height problems, although someone is sitting down when they get on a slide. Your slides can be straight for a while. They could be zigzag. Try to have them have some kind of continuous curvature to them. And have fun with this, and play around with different ways to create your swept surfaces or lofts if you care to do those. All right. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing lots of cool stairs displayed in class next week.